Welcome to Franchise Empires.
But I think the other side of this coin that's, tough to talk about, especially as a broker, is like some people who buy franchises shouldn't buy franchises.
Yeah.
And, they, you get sold. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of anything, right? It is, the responsibility is that third leg of the stool, right? Like making sure you're ready from a financial standpoint and getting into this business to grind through that first year, or however long it takes to ramp up the business, that you're ready to do what it's going to take. And it's kind of like a burn the boat mentality, right? Like that's what you see, it's what JT's talking about. It's like, hey, look, whatever it takes, I'm I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this thing successful. It's not your first rodeo, so you have a bigger advantage than a lot of people. But, coming in, and I think sometimes people think that because they buy a franchise, it's just going to magically happen on its own. And that's obviously not the case. And I don't think that's franchise salespeople telling them that. I don't think it's franchise companies telling them that. I think sometimes people connect dots in their own mind of what entrepreneurship and what franchise ownership is.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, the buyer, obviously, it's not like they're just free and clear of, any responsibility. I mean, everyone has free will to make a decision or not make a decision. But Drew,
the franchisor should. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. The franchisor should have some accountability there too, right? It's like when you said, "Hey, the franchisees, some of them shouldn't buy franchises." Well, that franchisor probably shouldn't be selling franchises to people that they know are unlikely to succeed. I've seen it happen. I've literally been firsthand seeing franchisors have to sell units to get franchise fees to keep their own lights on. They're going to sell. You could have a dog come with a check and say, we're going to franchise it. It's going to fail, but they need that franchise fee. So they're going to sell the unit and they'll deal with the repercussions after. And as soon as that franchisee fails, they're going to try to have somebody else buy it so they can call it a transfer and hide it in their FDD. And like, there's so many games that go into, an FDD that, and even going a step back, when people say, oh, I looked at the balance sheet and, how much cash did the balance sheet in the FDD of the franchisor doesn't tell you anything. Nope. It literally doesn't tell you anything. Like franchisors, if they have $20 million, they're not keeping it in a checking account to report on their balance sheet. Right. And it's, so there's really no way to validate just from looking at an FDD how strong the franchisor is. Probably the best way to validate it, which is kind of a backhanded, weird way to do it, is talk to people in the industry. Like talk to people like Drew. Like we hear the things that go on in the industry. We hear the gossip around brands, and, franchisees buy brands with the broker and they get upset and they find out things that tell the broker, and the broker, tells other people in his network, and word gets around pretty quick. People know what's going on, like the inner workings of franchising. So that's probably the best way to do real diligence, is talk to people, because the FDD doesn't really tell you anything.
For sure. Yeah, there's games within the game.
That's what we call ourselves, the Real Housewives of franchising, right?
Yes, exactly. Let's go.
We need to come up with a better name for that.
I know, we do. We need a name for this segment. That's for damn sure.